with Trifon Haitas, who's the Green candidate for the Oak Ridges-Markham riding, which of course includes Whitchurch Stouffville. Trifon, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get started. Not a lot of people know you, so tell us about yourself.
Well, where do I begin? I immigrated to this great nation of ours when I was 6 years old, and so Canada has adopted me, and for that I believe that I owe a great deal to this country of ours. I'm a proud Canadian, and this is my way of giving something back. I'm stepping up for our community to ensure that we have the representation that we deserve, and here I am.
Okay, now the Green Party is obviously, there's been lots of issues at the federal level about inclusion in debates, but I'm really interested in communities and what you would do for the local community if you were elected. So can you tell us a little bit of what your ideas are?
Well, first and foremost, the Green Party allows me the privilege of working for the community as opposed to working for the party. Many parties expect you to toe the party line, whereas the Green Party allows me the freedom to actually work in the community. We believe in grassroots democracy, and that allows me to go out and see what the community wishes for itself, as opposed to me dictating to the community what our party thinks is best for the community. That's the case right now. And we wish to turn things around a little bit so that it's the community actually telling me, their representative, what it is that they want for our community. The reason why I chose the Green Party is that the Green Party has a clean slate. I've worked diligently all my life to ensure that I have a clean reputation, and whatever I'm part of, I want to ensure that they have a clean reputation as well. And having said that, the Green Party allows me to, and our community of course, to work with a clean slate so that we can look forward and work together, and if you will, it gives our community a canvas that's a blank canvas, and we're allowed to paint the picture. So with every brush stroke from our community members, we paint the picture that we want to project into our great nation internationally ourselves. We have control of doing that, as opposed to being handed down a manufactured brand name picture and saying, you know, this is good for you, whether it's the HSD or whether it's what have you. We don't believe in that. We believe that it's a community, especially a community like Oak Ridges-Markham. We have great leadership here in our community. There's leaders, we're a vibrant community, and there's no reason why, and may I add, we are amongst the largest ridings in Canada. If not in population-wise, we are the largest, yet we're always kept in the dark. There's never any mention of Oak Ridges-Markham, the most heaviest populated, most diverse, the most colorful, and I believe the most vibrant community in Canada, yet we're in the dark. My job as a communications expert is to ensure that we have the communicator to represent our community, to find out, to go out and search and listen and see what it is that our community needs and wishes for, and convey that message to Ottawa. And in turn, convey the message that we get from Ottawa to our community. We need someone who is a communicator, someone who has the courage, the determination, and the will to ensure that we get a little bit of sunshine. That's all we need here in our community. We're not asking for everything. All we need is to shed some light on the beauty that exists within our community. And that's my objective, one of them.
Okay, now of course you have a background in communications. Do you want to let the listeners know about that?
Yes, of course. For the past 15 to 20 years, I've been in media, and I'm a freelance journalist, documentarian, and I've been very much involved in in highlighting our prime ministers, our members of parliament, people like Nana Muscuri, who is an ambassador to the United Nations. I had the honor of meeting Nana Muscuri when I was asked to document her stay here in Toronto while she was representing the United Nations Children's Fund.
Okay.
And so I was given the privilege of working on that assignment, and also the Olympics that just passed in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I was assigned to cover that for an international network that basically wanted to highlight the events in Vancouver as they unfolded. Mm-hmm. I was the first ever Canadian documentarian to work as a freelance and to work independently to cover the Olympics as a document. That's basically something that I'm very proud about, going out there and documenting the Olympics on my own, and highlighting our Canadian athletes. They weren't the top. You know, we often get a view of the Olympics with only a mention of the elite athletes. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? There's some good folks that may not be winning or coming home with the bronze or silver, but they're coming home with pride that they went to represent our community. And I believe that's what the Olympics is all about. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud that I was able to highlight their experience in Athens, as well as the experience of Canadians that had gone out as spectators and volunteers. We don't get that picture of the common folk who goes out to represent our community, whether it's as a volunteer to ensure that our country is well represented, or whether it's as a spectator to ensure that when a Canadian is up there on the podium, that there's people applauding and raising our flag. And I'm proud that I was able to document that and make Canadian history.
Now, the Green Party, I mean, it's obvious that you're very proud to represent not just Oak Ridges-Markham, but Canada. You're a very proud Canadian. So if the Green Party was elected, can you fill the people listening in on what some of the core policies are? Because everyone sort of sees the green side of the story. Is there a strong fiscal story there? What about healthcare? What about some of those other touchstone issues?
Well, I encourage everyone to visit greenparty.ca and take a look at our green vision, our vision for Canada, which is one of the most thought out visions, platforms, if you will, that exists in politics today. Every party right across the board, I'm proud to say, has borrowed from our platform. And that's good, and that's what we're all about. We're about sharing and ensuring that we do what's best for Canadians. One of the things that we're very concerned about is the environment, of course, because that is the foundation that holds everything. We all need the environment to stand on. Our health depends on our environment. Our economy depends on our environment, and that's why we strongly reaffirm that we need to respect our environment and to ensure that we do things for the long term as opposed to short term. We believe in long-term solutions, and that's why the environment is at the forefront, because without a strong environment and a healthy environment, we don't have a healthy community. And without a healthy community, we don't have a healthy economy. So,
what would you say to the people who say they can't vote Green because it's a one-issue party? How would you win them over and get their vote?
It's not a one-issue party. Okay. If you do go to greenparty.ca, you'll find out that we have all the issues that Canadians are concerned about. We wouldn't have a 1 million Green Party supporters if we were a one-issue party. We strongly believe that we ought to be focusing, our budget ought to be focusing on our youth, first and foremost, and on our elderly as well. Our elderly did everything they could for us as Canadians. They worked all their lives so that we could have somewhat of a future. And we need to respect that, and we need to allow them to live in dignity. Our elderly, as well as our youth, are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to all the budgets that are being proposed, other than the budget or platform that is put forward by our leader, Elizabeth May. Because we are encompassing the youth. The youth are our future. And if we're not concerned about giving them the tools and the education that they need, then there is no future economic stability for our country. We need to have been doing this years ago so that we wouldn't be in this type of recession. And in order to curve one's community or one's nation away from a depression is to ensure that the youth have the tools to carry on the economies of tomorrow. Because the elderly, one day I will depend on a pension. Well, if our children don't have a stable job, then I don't have a pension. So we need to do everything possible to ensure that our children have high-end quality jobs and that they don't have to go to places like Europe or Asia or elsewhere. You know, many of us immigrated to this country so that we could have a future, so that we could be together with our families. And we're finding out now that our children are educated. Their debt burden is so high that it takes them 10 years to pay off their debts. So basically, they're being enslaved for 10 years. What is that doing for our economy? And they have to find themselves getting jobs elsewhere, in places like Asia. Is Asia more advanced than we are? Is Europe more advanced than we are? Well, it's obvious that, yes, they have thought about the future, and they are living the future. And we have lagged behind with our heads in the tar sands, to put it mildly, and focusing on one issue type platforms and budgets that only cater to the elite, and that's not the way that I envision our Canada to be or our community. In this last budget, we find that major corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations, these are people that are making billions and billions of dollars, the oil companies, the bankers. Why is Canadian tax dollars going to fund these corporations that are already gouging us at the gas pump, and you know, they're gouging us at the bank? So why is it that we're readily available to fund these corporations, yet we're hesitant to fund a women's shelter? During the G8, G20, our Prime Minister had no problem spending $1 billion for 2 days, and which was really a photo op opportunity. Not even a month before that, he was closing down women's shelters. These are women that are getting battered. And they were told that we don't have funds for you. Well, if we don't have funds for our women, and if we don't have funds for the 1 in 8 children that go hungry in Canada, but we have money for $1 billion, over $1 billion for 78 hours or let's say, 2 days, then there's something wrong with that picture. There's something wrong when we have loads of money for multi-billion-dollar corporations, yet we don't have money for our elderly, we don't have money for our youth, and we don't have money for our women.
Okay. You mentioned community repeatedly, which is great. When you're out in the local community, which I'm sure you are doing a lot of right now.
Yes, I am.
What are you hearing from people when you go door to door?
I'm hearing a great variety of things. One of the most important things is our economy, our healthcare system. We're starting to lose our universal healthcare system. We're witnessing the privatization, slowly but surely, the privatization of our healthcare system. And whereas our neighbors are looking to go on the model that we once had, a universal healthcare system, we're going the other way. And I believe that's unfortunate, and I believe that we have to stand up for what Tommy Douglas did for this great nation, which was to introduce the universal healthcare system. If we have a healthy community, then we have everything we need to move forward, onward and upward.
Okay. And what about, I'm always interested in small business and medium-sized businesses, small business manufacturers. What is your view, and as well the party's view, on that particular area of the economy as opposed to the big corporations?
Well, we believe that the entrepreneurs and small business people are the backbone of our economy. They're the people that hire the most out of anyone. And we ought to be funding them or giving them tax breaks. We believe that employees that are earning under $20,000 shouldn't have to pay income tax. There ought to be a level where over the $20,000 mark, then you start paying income tax. Under it, you don't need to pay any income tax because that would put you below the poverty line, and that would make you needy, and that would make us want to build more prison systems, which we don't need to. You know, we ought to be a more nurturing society. We don't need bigger and better prisons for our children and for our community. What we need is more schools. What we need is more sustainable industry. That's what our community needs. It's odd that a child can become a criminal one day because they're needy. Okay, it's not out of choice that people become criminals. They can get a free education through by going to jail, but we don't have a free education for them as good citizens. There's something wrong with that picture. And we believe that education ought to be free because it's in our best interests that our children have the tools and have the education to move our community so that it's first class and so that we can become leaders in the international market.
And so someone's just popped in and joined us. Do you want to introduce us to this young gentleman?
This is my son Stavros. Stavros is one of the greatest reasons why I am stepping up to the plate for our community. Because one day, like many of your children, Stavros will look me in the eye and ask me what I did to ensure that he has a better future. And I can look him in the eye and explain to him that I tried. I tried everything that I could to ensure that he has the environment that he needs for his health and for a prosperous economy.
So it sounds like really what you're saying is a lot of your platform is about healthy growth with environmental consciousness, with paying attention to our elderly and our younger generations, with helping small businesses, with focusing on nurturing a whole community and whole people.
Of course, and that's what makes us great, and that's what moves us forward.
Well, I just was going to ask, so what is it that makes you in particular, Trifon, unique?
Well, I believe I have something to offer our community that all the other candidates who are vying to represent Oak Ridges-Markham do not have. We have never, in the history of Canada, elected a Green MP. By doing so, we will be making Canadian history. And if that doesn't shed light on our community internationally, I don't know what will. And if the good people of the Oak Ridges Moraine don't have the strength to make that history happen, I don't think it's possible anywhere in Canada.
Okay.
I believe that by making Canadian history, we will let the world know that we are true leaders, and that we're looking forward. We have a clear vision, and all I need is for our community to stand up with me, to grant me that green light, and send a strong message to Parliament.
Okay, great. Now, if somebody wants to get in touch with you over the next few weeks leading up to May 2nd, how does someone get in touch with you?
They could certainly contact me via email, info@trifonhaitas.com.
Okay.
They can certainly call me at 416-871-4288. That's my direct line. They could go to my website, trifonhaitas.com. They could see me at greenparty.ca.
And are you participating in the All Candidates debate in Stouffville on the April the 28th?
Yes, I will be.
So they could also, if they're coming, if the people of Stouffville are coming out to that event, they could see you there.
I encourage them to come out, and I encourage our community to please vote. No matter who you vote for, it's very important that we go out and exercise our right and our privilege to vote and make our voices heard. And that's what this is all about. This is what the message of the Green Party, a strong message, is to please come out and vote. You know, it's very important because it's our future, and the more people that vote, the more control we have over our future. And I encourage also our youth to become involved, to start participating, because it's your future in particular that's at stake. So please come on out and vote for your future.
Okay. Trifon, thank you so much for taking the time and not only that, helping me get set up with my cameras. You're being a documentary pro.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck on May the 2nd.
Thank you. I don't need luck, I need votes.
Okay, well, I wish you all the votes that you hope for.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank the community for standing up with me. I've experienced great support in our community. I look forward to working for our community with the Green Party, but first and foremost for our community. And it will certainly be a privilege on May the 2nd for you to step up to the plate with me and make Canadian history.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.